Hello there. Today we're going to be playing as Byzantium with a twist. Our overarching goal is actually to become a republic. We're going to revive the old Roman Senate. It's going to take quite a while for us to do this though. We can't be in a disaster and switch over to a republic, so we won't be able to do it during the Fate of the Phoenix. So it's going to be a rather long-term goal. We're also going to revive Latin culture and then switch to it as quickly as possible, and then we'll revive Hellenicism and do the same thing. Really, we're just going to recreate Rome in the modern day at its full capacity. But first of all, let's fix the economic situation. We'll stop paying money for anything. We'll set all our taxes to automation. We're not going to mint, because minting is bad. We're going to automate trade, which will fix all of our economic issues. We're going to demolish all our castles, except for the one in Constantinople. We're going to export ban just for a little improvement to minting income. For research, I always love grabbing Universal Christianity for that 0.05. Diplomat, and then I guess we'll grab guilds. It'll be helpful to have more burghers, because that will help increasing the power of the estate. Then I guess we'll rival Bulgaria, the Ottomans, and I guess Naples as well. And maybe just a random Turkic tribe. We'll have John VI, perhaps the worst Byzantine emperor, although there's a lot of competition for that. We'll have him improve our legitimacy. We'll have our other cabinet ministers. One of them can reduce war exhaustion, because war exhaustion is very high and has lots of negatives. Look how bad our army morale is because of it. With the other two, we'll just improve the prosperity in these two provinces. In the short term, it won't take very long, so we'll quickly do that, then assign them something else. Now, we're going to release some land, as usual. We're going to release the Pronoia. I learned a new strategy from someone. I don't remember what his name was, or if it was a he, but if we release land and assign clerics to it, they don't seem to marry, even if they're eligible. Maybe because they still consider themselves clerics even after they're landed. The ecumenical patriarch is unique. If we assign him land, he'll of course go to it, which will spawn a new ecumenical patriarch. So we can just continuously assign ecumenical patriarchs land, spawning another one who we then assign in an infinite cycle of ecumenical patriarchs. So we'll hand out all the land to them. I'll be keeping an eye on them to see if they do end up marrying, because I've tested it and they don't seem to, but I kind of don't believe it, right? We're not going to release the historical vassal in Thessaly because I have a better plan with Thessaly. Normally I would release them because they have cores, and so they would fabricate for them. We're going to keep a hold of our southern land in southern Greece because there's a certain event that triggers, which gives us claims on a lot of this land. So we're going to keep that land, so we might get that event. We're also going to hand out the islands to our Thessalian vassal, just to avoid the event where Genoa steals them. We'll begin building a spy network on Serbia and the Ottoman. We'll also, before I forget, let's max spending on the Imperial Senate. That way we'll have passive legitimacy growth without spending a penny. And I think we're ready. We've got a little disloyalty from our vassals, but it's kind of temporary, so it's not a big deal. I guess let's start improving relationships with the Pope. We might be able to get him to give us money once the Fate of the Phoenix triggers, and I guess that'll be it. Let's begin. We are also actually playing on Ironman mode. Good opportunity to pick up some achievements, I guess. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll all just crash and burn. Be funny if we do. There's the Fate of the Phoenix, as discussed. As I said, because we're in a disaster, we can't become a republic now, but honestly, it's going to take a while to get our scores up high enough to become a republic anyway, so I won't lose any sleep over it. What we do really depends on what happens with old Andronicus here. If he survives and loses the sickly trait, we'll be in a pretty good position. If he just dies, we'll have to deal with not having a ruler, which does impact things a fair bit. Here's one of the events I was hoping for. We're going to make John VI our co-emperor. He doesn't want to be, but we're going to force him to become it, and that will give us access to potential other event. It'll also increase his efficiency of the cabinet, which is always nice. We've got the reformation of the corrupt judges. I always do this, I never don't do it. It's going to cost us a little money and it's going to put us in debt a little, but I just think it's worth doing. We get an extra cabinet seat, we get a bit more crown power, and we get that efficiency of cabinet while we're in the Fate of the Phoenix, and of course if we win the Fate of the Phoenix. So I'm willing to take a little bit of debt. The debt problem's one we can essentially solve once we conquer the Ottomans. We've then got the earthquake, we're just going to stomach the legitimacy hit. Unfortunately the Pope has rivaled us, so there's nothing we can do, so we can't ask him for money or anything, so we'll just have to Ignore him, he's not our problem. In fact, let's stop improving relationships with him. Who should we improve relationships with? Let's improve relationships with the Mamluks. We'd like to keep them out of our hair. Our spy network's big enough on the Ottomans, so we'll begin fabricating our claim province CB. We're actually going to claim... Sometimes they delete the fort here. It doesn't look like they've done so this time. Maybe they'll do it in time for us to conquer them. But we'll fabricate a CB for this province anyway. Here's our first parliament. We're going to do what I pretty much always like to do. We balance the budget has actually showed up. This could be pretty nice if we get this. It would help. It would decrease our inflation a fair bit. I think we will grab it. It doesn't normally show up this early, but it's definitely nice. But there is something I want to do though. I want to switch over to favor the elite so we can actually tax our nobility, which we of course are not doing at this moment. But I'm not sure we're going to be able to push. Well, actually, looks like the nobles are offering to switch the policy essentially for free. I will just lose 12 stability. And also we gained 12 stability from a random event a minute ago. So I think we'll accept that. Thank you, nobles. I always knew the nobles had my back. We're actually very close to having 100 support. So what we're going to do, we're going to wait. And we might just passively gain support. If so, when we get up to 100, I think we'll either ask for larger levies or ask for additional taxes, depending upon how I'm feeling at the moment. There goes one of our Pronoia. We'll just release another one. We're actually doing pretty well on the economic front at the moment. Minting, as always, is making us a fair chunk of money. I think we're going to bring down our minting for the moment, just while we're in the balance the budget. Ooh, before I can finish my sentence, there's the bid for the Imperial Crown. Let's see if we can finish this quickly. We're going to need a bit of legitimacy to blind and potentially castrate our main detractor. Let's commission a Chronicles for 5 legitimacy. We can't do that again for 20 years, unfortunately, so we're not going to be able to do it in the short term. We're just going to have to wait and let our legitimacy build up normally. There goes another Pronoia. Our money's actually built up quite a bit from them all dying. But now that we're in this situation, we can't actually release any more Pronoia. So we're going to need to be careful with that. Luckily, we get an event here that gives us a little legitimacy. 6 will do. Andronicus still has his sickly trait, so there's potential he just dies really soon after this. Or at any time, really. Which would be funny, as it means if he dies, we can't actually castrate or blind our rival, because we need a ruler to do so, and we'll be in a regency. We'll agitate liberty in that Serbian province, though, since we'll gain 5 legitimacy from doing so when they switch, which is going to be soon, about 2 years. So that could potentially bring us to the point where we have enough legitimacy to blind him. There's our extra cabinet seat that we've gained from getting rid of the corrupt judges. I think we'll stabilize the nation. Our stability is fairly low, which is decreasing estate satisfaction. And now that we're in this disaster, estate satisfaction is going to decrease even further. So we definitely like to solve that as quickly as possible, or improve it as quickly as possible, I should say. Here's a good event. We can either get all parliamentary issues will be enhanced for the duration of the succession crisis disaster. Gain a modifier that increases base support and minimum tax, only by a little bit though. I'm not sure what it means when it says enhance all parliamentary issues. I just don't know. I've never... Because normally I usually pick the second option, which gives me 10 legitimacy, right? Like 10 legitimacy? Like right now? I could blind that guy right now if I got this. But I'm curious what this is. What does it mean when it enhances? Let's look at our current debate, right? Balance the budget. 0.4 monthly inflation down. We're going to lose 2.5 inflation, and our loan will get decreased when it's done. Let's do it. Let's press it and see what happens. I'm not actually seeing a difference. I'm not seeing a difference. Maybe because it's already in place. It could mean future ones are going to be changed or improved. We could hope. Speaking of which, it's about time that the budget ended. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to say, give us additional taxes. We have 9,000 men. So I'm pretty confident in our ability to beat the Ottomans. They're currently at 5,000. They're also with these people, actually. This could be really nice. If they conquer these guys, we'll get more cores when we conquer the Ottomans. With that said, though, maybe we should go for soldiers. I think I am actually going to go for soldiers based on what I'm seeing. The Ottomans are going to be a bit big. Then we'll address these market concerns to finish the matter. And now we'll wait a few days. Parliament ends, inflation's decreased. We'll go back to minting so we can improve our economy a little bit. Aha, we're getting the demands of the Ottoman event. We can say no and they'll get an insult to be honest, but that's fine. If they attack us, they'd be pretty stupid too, considering we have 12,000 men at the moment. We'll insult them for that 5 legitimacy. All right, we've got our legitimacy to 25, so we're just going to blind this guy. Andronicus is still sickly, so I want to do it now, then risk not doing it and Andronicus dies. It is better to blind than castrate, funnily enough. Blinding reduces life expectancy more than castrating does. We could potentially do both if we get the legitimacy for it. We'll blind him for now, though. Then we've got this event where the nobles offer to give us a fleet in exchange for money. We don't really need it, so we're going to say no for that extra legitimacy. We do have to be careful, though. We've decreased their happiness a fair bit. In fact, we're going to assign one of our cabinet ministers to improve their relationships with us a bit. We've almost got our CB on the Ottomans available. 3 more months, and then we'll come down on them. Since they ravaged those other guys, they didn't actually conquer them, but we're going to begin building our own spy network on them. If we can, we'd love to just retake our cores that they have. And we just had back-to-back events that reduced our peasants' happiness to 0. So we now actually have no army. We have 600 levies. We're going to need to fix that as soon as possible. And we didn't actually get the good event I wanted from John VI. So now I guess it's time to just kick him out, send him to join the clergy. It's a pity that we didn't get the event I wanted, but what are you going to do? We're going to switch over from improving the nobles' happiness, because they're at least above 25. We need to get those peasant happiness up. And here's the same event again. We've got this event 3 times now in a row. We can just upset the nobles, but I've already upset the peasants. So I think we're just going to keep upsetting them. This is actually going to cause a peasant revolt, but honestly, this is kind of better. I'd rather a peasant revolt happens now. We'll crush them, which will improve their happiness. So let's let it happen. I mean, it's not like we can stop it at this point. At least they don't have any forts. So there's our peasant revolt. We'll call in Trebizond. They should be able to just win this war for us. I guess we'll go back to appeasing the nobles. We have a fair amount of soldiers now. So maybe we don't need Trebizond, because happiness of our peasants has improved in the land that we kept. These dumb peasants distracting us. We could be at war with the Ottomans right now and crushing them. Oh well, let's solve this, and then I think we'll attack the Ottomans immediately. And then we've got that little bit of Serbian territory switched over to our way of thinking. That's excellent. That's the revolters largely defeated. The problem is they have land in Philadelphia that we can't reach. They'll probably surrender soon, though. I think it's time we attack the Ottomans then. Let's dismiss our levies. Then we'll declare war on the Ottomans. We won't be able to call Trebizond in, but honestly, we shouldn't need them, right? We have quite a large amount of levies. To be fair, the Ottomans are quite big this time round. They did demolish the fort like I was talking about. That makes things a little easier. Let's see if we can't draw them in. If we can just stack wipe them or fight a good battle against them, then it'll be our victory. Based purely on numbers, you know, we have 10,000 men more than them, so it shouldn't be a problem, right? I like to believe it's not going to be a problem. Ah, the Ottomans have gone and tried to siege Constantinople. That's perfect. We should be able to trap them here now. And now we can eliminate them. We can even call up the guys in Constantinople to help in the battle. So we'll call them up. We'll attack them with our army. And then we got 2 good events both at once. We'll get this 10 legitimacy from this event. And then we'll say, for this one, we'll get that money. Perfect, everything's going our way. And then we just defeated the Ottoman army as well. They are going to be able to retreat, though, via going this way, but I think we might be able to block them if we move our navy into range. Let's chase them down and see if we can eliminate them. Even if we can't fully eliminate them, we've already done a considerable amount of damage to them, right? Yep, we were able to catch them there and eliminate them. Perfect. Now there's only 1,000 or so Ottoman left, and it looks like they've positioned them all here on Constantinople again, just like their previous army. It's like they're begging to be killed. Since we've actually got 26 legitimacy, I think we're going to spend it just to castrate that guy leading the revolt. We really want him to die as soon as possible, but at the very least we've eliminated the Ottoman armies. There's none of them, well, there's 700 men left, and now there's not. We might be able to peace out the Ottomans right now, actually. Let's see, let's demand they return all of the land that they have that is our cores. Yep, they'd definitely be willing to return all of our cores, which is excellent. Question is, should we take more? There is a risk of a coalition, and we can't actually beat all of the tribes in Anatolia yet. They're fairly strong and they have large cavalry armies, so we do need to be a bit cautious, and we can't release Prenoia at the moment because we're still in the disaster. With all that said, it's a little risky taking large swathes of land that aren't our cores, of course. We can take our cores with no issue. The antagonism from taking cores is minimum. So maybe we should just grab money and peace out the Ottomans. But, you know, I don't like leaving them with anything. I think we're going to, though. We'll leave the Ottomans with whatever they've got left. Maybe other people will kill them. I mean, it's unlikely. Or maybe they'll expand themselves. At least they'll be able to take up people's attention. They should also release any slaves they have. We don't want them to have our people as slaves. We're going to get a few events that buff our legitimacy now for defeating them. We've still got the rebels over in Philadelphia. As discussed, we can't reach them. So we're just going to have to wait and hope they surrender. We have enough money to pay off all of our loans. So I think we're going to do that. It's not costing us much having loans, but loans are bad because they negatively impact Crown Authority. Not that our Crown Authority is going to be very high because of the situation we find ourselves in. But I feel like it's better to pay off those loans and keep them around. So we'll get rid of those. We, of course, are going to have a plethora of events now based around our reclaiming of things. There's a cheeky 20 legitimacy. Our legitimacy income has actually fallen into the negative now because of how unhappy the nobles are. So I think we'll spend a little bit on our cost of courts just to improve it a little bit. Although to be fair, we don't actually need to do that now because we've now got the restore our old capital modifier, which gives us more passive legitimacy growth. Now we have this event. If we choose to, we can potentially have the Renaissance spawn in Constantinople, but this doesn't guarantee it. It just increases the chance, and it doesn't increase it that high. So I don't think it's really worth doing, honestly. It would cost us all of our treasury, and we'd still need to take a loan if we decided to do this. We could just take the lesser version, which will increase prosperity gain and increase promotion. So I think we'll grab that. Prosperity gain is always lovely, especially in our capital of Constantinople. We've got enough of a spy network on that other Turkish tribe, so we'll begin fabricating it. They're very weak after being dogpiled by the Ottomans, so it shouldn't be too hard for us to just sweep them aside. Ah, there the rebels have surrendered. Perfect. Now we can return to peace as usual. Really, we're just waiting for our pretender to die now. He's castrated and blinded, which is together gives him -15 to his life expectancy, so surely he'll die soon. Here's the Renaissance. As usual, we'll go for admin. I just can't resist. Admin's too good. Maybe one day I'll go for diplomatic. This war score cost efficiency is nice though, because it increases how much land you can take in wars, but we're already going to be able to take a lot of land in wars, especially since when we get our CB for winning the situation. So as I said, I think we'll just go admin. Then when it comes to admin, we'll head down the side, which increases the loyalty of subject and increases the proximity. And then we'll probably grab the local nobles. Andronicus is still sickly, so he could still die at any moment. But to be fair, he's done everything he can do now. As long as the pretender dies soon. Well, since we've already blinded and castrated him, we don't really need Andronicus to stay alive now. He's free to die. He's done his duty, and that's all I ask. It might actually be time for us to pivot west and deal with Naples. They're currently with the Pope, which is costing, well, they've currently fought the Pope and beat them, which put them down a bit. Our vassal in Epirus has also fabricated a CB on their core, which is a vassal of Naples. So I think once our diplomats recover, which should be 5 months, then we'll think about attacking Naples. They are stronger than us, but their strength is very, not real, because they always have to ferry their armies over to us, and they're usually not very good at doing so, which allows us to destroy their armies piecemeal instead of fighting them all at once, which is, as you can imagine, a very good way to deal with them. Alrighty, time to attack Naples. As you can see, they're stronger than us. They're calling in Provence as well. We can't call in Trebizond, but I don't think we really need them for this war. We'll declare war, raise all the levies. We have quite a lot of soldiers now, 17,000. More than enough to kill anything that moves, surely. As I said, it is a pity we didn't get the event that gives us claims on a lot of southern Greece, but oh well, there you go, the pretender just died. So the Byzantium succession crisis should end. It's a pity he died then and not a few months before, because I could have released a bit of land to Pronoias, but it is what it is. Better late than never, right? And there goes the Byzantium succession crisis, giving us a lot of legitimacy and stability, and of course ending the negative effects of the crisis. Now we can just focus on defeating the Neapolitans. Shouldn't be a big deal. A lot of our vassals are dying though, and we're inheriting their land, which is a little inconvenient. It'd be nice if they survived so that they could support us But I suppose them dying kind of is them supporting us because we can just call up soldiers in their land now. When it comes to sieging, we do want to leave it all to our vassals, though. We want to keep an eye out for the Neapolitan and Provence's armies who are going to try and land in the region. Ah, there's one. We can see there's 9,000 Neapolitans there. It doesn't look like they're actually trying to land, though. They're just sitting in their navy, it looks like they've retreated. That's too bad. I wanted them to come over. Oh, it looks like they're trying again. They're deploying 3,000 men. We should just be able to grab them. Yep, let's wait for them to lock. Then we'll move to the province they're heading towards, and then we'll immediately kill them when they land. Perfect. That 9,000 men is still on the boats, though. They're still not trying to land with them. There's some of the provincial army. Unfortunately, they're going to do some damage to our allies that were sieging the fort there. That's an annoyance, but we'll head over and slap them around ourselves. There's only 3,000 of them. There they go. Did that 9,000? Yeah, the 9,000, it looks like they're trying... No, they're not. They're still not trying... No, there they are. They are landing. Let's head over and deal with them. There they go. Defeated. Not destroyed, though, so we'll need to pursue them. We do need to be a little careful that we don't... Oh, well, actually, yeah, look behind us. There's another group. Need to be careful we don't get caught out of position chasing them down. There's that bug in this version where if your morale gets too low, your army gets stack wiped. Though, to be fair, they're the ones with really low morale at the moment. So maybe we'll be the ones to stack wipe them. Where are they? There, that's where they're heading. There we go. Perfect. Yep, we were the ones who stack wiped them. There's only 14,000 Neapolitans left, with Provence bringing 5,000 men. So this was pretty much a bygone conclusion. Let's deal with these few provincial armies that are here. That's one. That's two. Provence should Provence has no soldiers left now. They can bring nothing to the conflict. Let's think about how we would end this. We'll grab the core for Epirus, obviously. We'll then grab our own core. And then I think we'll just take their land in southern Greece, as much of it as we can. We could, if we wanted to, take some land in Italy as a good staging zone. Let's occupy all of their land in Greece first, so we can actually see what the war score cost of doing so would be like, though. There's the last of the Neapolitan army. There's only 400 of them left somewhere. Provence has had enough. We'll piece them out. We can't demand anything from them because of their distance, so since there's no enemy army left, let's actually set our army to carpet siege. Surely if we just highlight every province, they'll just carpet siege all over the place and occupy everything, right? Naples has capitulated. That's great. One of the best features added in this patch, I think, where your enemy just surrenders after you've done enough damage to them. So, as discussed, let's think about what we're going to take. If we wanted to take all of their land in Greece, I think it would be a bit too expensive. Maybe. It looks pretty fine. We'll be able to take... These lands here are actually controlled by vassals of this southern territory, the last remnants of the Latin Empire. So we'd actually gain these territories as vassals on the issue. What about Naxos? I'm not sure who... Yeah, we'd gain Naxos too. So this kind of would be perfect. We'll take all of Naples' lands here in Greece, push them back to Italy. We'll also liberate the lands of Albania. Always nice to see. But at the same time... we could just take a bit of land in Italy, couldn't we? We could just take a bit of land in Italy. We could leave them with some of this Albanian territory. It's not like it matters much, right? Just leave them with some of it. We could even leave them with our core, and that way we could declare war again for our core. We could release Bari, for example. That's always a nice place to release, if only for the historical relevance. Would we have to deal with a coalition? Naples, of course, would hate it. We're annexing these guys, so they don't really matter. These guys would become our vassal. Argos is Argos. These guys become our vassal. That's Athens, Venice. I think we'd be fine, actually. I think it's fine. Let's do it. We'll take a bit of money as well. There, we've regained land in Italy, just as planned. While we were doing that, I should have been fabricating CBs on the other tribes, but I forgot about it. So let's start doing so now. We do have our CB on these little guys. They haven't got any allies. They've only got 800 soldiers, so I think we'll just clean them up. Before we do, though, we can now release Pronoia again. So we'll begin doing so. We'll release all our territories in Italy. Even if we could get cores on them, you know, it's not going to be really possible for us to gain high control in there, at least until we get something like naval governors, which is probably going to be a while because I don't tend to like pushing for naval governors because it feels so cheap because it's something you end up doing every game, right? So I kind of hold off on it till later, but either way, we'll send our endless wave of ecumenical patriarchs to occupy and govern this new land on our behalf. Now let's go and destroy that small little Turkic tribe as discussed. We are going to need to kill all of the Turkish tribes here in order to win the situation. which can be kind of difficult, mainly because of this nation over here, which is Turkish, but is very far away from Anatolia. So we'll have to find a way to reach them somehow. Sometimes they ally with one of the Turkish tribes, and that way you can kind of annex them when they capitulate. That's how I got them in my first playthrough of the DLC. So we'll have to see if something like that happens this time around, or if someone just decides to kill them. That would be the best option, right? If one of the neighboring nations just decided, why are we letting these small guys live? Let's just kill them. But maybe we can't be that lucky. Speaking of luck, there's this tribe gone. Our economy's in a pretty good spot now, so I think we are just going to decrease our minting. We'd like to get our inflation to 0, after all. Andronicus has also been cured of his sickly trait, so he's going to survive quite a while now. Always nice to see. He did his part by surviving long enough for us to do things, and now he's going to survive much longer as well. And there's the Black Death finally showed up, just as we got our claim on these guys. The White Hand of Saruman. They're going to call in an ally who we also have cores on, so we'll probably just swoop them in as well. So what we might do is wait for our CB for these guys to come online, because then we can cut through. We won't be able to reach this southern... Oh, I mean, maybe it'll be fine. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating. But at the same time, let's wait a bit, because we won't be able to declare war once for a war unless we de-raise our levies, which are pretty good. Let's just declare war. I think I'm overthinking it. Ooh, the Ottomans have decided to intervene in the war. Not sure why, because it's not like they can fight us. But I suppose if they want to get beaten up, I shouldn't be the one to tell them no. We'll split our army in 2. Send one group down to deal with the main Turkish enemy, and the other one can go beat up the Ottomans. Alright, that was a very quick war. We'll just demand all our cores from these guys, which is pretty simple. But since the Ottomans did join, maybe we should beat them up. We'd have to occupy their fort here to full annex them. But since they've been so proactive in joining our wars, maybe we don't need to. Maybe they'll just join another war in the future. Although, I'm thinking maybe we should just kill the Ottomans here. How strong are they right now? They only have 2,000 men. We're going to de-raise our levies so that we can declare war on these guys here. Then we'll just clean up all of these guys, I think. I think it might be time for us to start just killing. Do we really need to be worried about these Turkish tribes now? I'm leaning towards no. That doesn't mean we don't have to be worried, though. We do need to be a little careful of my greatest sin, which is biting off more than I can chew and then getting coalitioned. And since coalitions are a bigger deal now in this version than they used to be, it could definitely end this run. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it could definitely make things harder if I end up in a big coalition. That's this Turkish tribe dealt with. They did have a vassal, so we've gained their vassal as our own, which is a bit of annoyance. I should have been paying more attention. I would have annexed these guys if I was, because there's not much reason for us to get a vassal like this, since we could just release a pronoia in the area. But oh well. There's the Black Death showing up. Always a nuisance. We'll segregate the infected as usual, and then just ignore it. There's Smyrna reclaimed. Between these two events, I like the one that gives me a shipyard, although the other one does give local prosperity of 1. It's only 20 years though, whereas the other option gives us 50 years and increases maritime presence and increases local monthly development. I think we'll go with the shipyard. Shipyards are always cool. We're just waiting on our siege of the Ottoman capital to be done now, and then we'll make peace with these guys. I'm thinking that maybe we should go to war with Hungary. No, maybe we should go to war with Bulgaria and Serbia now. Maybe just for our cause. We'll have to, of course, keep an eye on aggressive expansion or antagonism, but there's definitely not much reason for us to leave them with our cores in this point. There we go. The Ottomans are finished. We'll full annex them, I think. Who's going to be angry? The Ottomans, of course, but they're not going to exist, so who cares? Then just the usual Turks. Albania won't like it. These guys aren't going to exist. These guys will exist. These guys will exist. These guys. Though, as I said, I think we're strong enough now to actually defeat most of these Turkish tribes if they did form a coalition against us. We'll see. We'll make peace. We'll demand all this land. One thing of note is when we release Pronoia, they're going to be of the religion that we release them in. So, for example, this is a Sunni province. If we release it, it will become a Sunni Pronoia. So, for example, if we put a Orthodox person in charge, they shouldn't actually have any successors, because if we look, I just put a random Orthodox guy in charge. He has no successors because his heir religion law is same religion, and because he's of course Orthodox and the country is of course Sunni, none of his children are a legitimate successor. There is a chance they change this over to any religion, but in my experience they don't tend to. It is something to be cautious of though. Speaking of cautious, unfortunately old John VI has gone on and become the ecumenical patriarch. And we can't really land him because, of course, he does have sons and children. But since we've built up quite a bit of legitimacy, we could just start castrating people and assigning them as governors. What are they going to do, right? As mentioned, it does look like a bit of a coalition will form against us, but I don't think they'll be strong enough to defeat us. We'll have to see. They are these Turkish tribes which have a lot of cavalry in their levies, which does give them a good chance when it comes to fighting us. Speaking of good chance, our heir has come of age. Old John V. He's not very good though. He's got very bad stats. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to just castrate him, removing him from succession. Now his brother Michael can be our successor. I would say we'd assign him a pronoia to govern now, but because his brother, of course, will be our ruler, what will end up happening is our pronoia will end up being ruled by our ruler, I think. I don't know, I haven't tried it. Let's actually experiment. It's always fun to test things. Let's get this very small location, which isn't very big, so it'll be easy to annex. Let's put our castrated son in charge of it. We can see that his successor is going to be Michael. As I mentioned, I'm not sure what will happen if our ruler is also the ruler of a pronoia. Will it inherit it? I'm not sure. I feel like I did test it, but then I forgot. So we'll get to see in real time for everyone's benefit. Ah, they did attack us. A little surprising. I don't think they are stronger than us, especially with Trebizond to back us, and of course all of our vassals. But they're going to try it. We should at least respect that. We're about 5,000 men more than them, so maybe it's a little closer than I gave them credit for. If we really wanted to, we could just hide behind Constantinople. To be fair, they'd probably rack up a fair amount of war score just beating up our allies and vassals though. So I think we'll take to the field. The guy leading the coalition doesn't actually have any forts, so we could just potentially full occupy him. He's also moving his army very close to us with no morale, so maybe we'll just kill them. Perfect, that's his army gone. That battle might be enough to just end this war, because the leader of the coalition no longer has an army, putting him in a poor position. Let's go occupy his capital. There, we're just going to end the war as a white peace. We don't really want to drag it out, because we don't really want to drag out our truces with these guys. We want to be able to attack them fairly soon. Our inflation's finally down to 0, so we can start minting again. We've also got our CB against Serbia and Bulgaria. Do either of them have any allies? Serbia has Wallachia, I guess, which puts them a little stronger than... Well, I'm not sure if I consider these numbers legit. It's probably that our levies haven't fully replenished. Bulgaria, though, is alone. I think jumping them wouldn't be too difficult. Let's wait a month or so for our levies to replenish. I was saying that we were going to wait for our levies to replenish because I forgot we're actually in the Black Death, so our levies have probably just been reduced to what they're going to be for the foreseeable future. Speaking of which, is Andronicus III going to die here? Let's roll the dice on that 45% chance. Oh, he survived. He's really been doing it this time. Andronicus is back. And this time, he's not going to take no for an answer. All attempts to kill him have failed so far. Alright, the Black Death is pretty much all gone. We're going to sponsor a mass forgiveness for that extra stability. Now we're going to attack Bulgaria. Our levy numbers have been much reduced due to the plague. That is what it is. It's what usually happens. So of course we want our cores back from Hungary. So of course we want our cores back from Bulgaria. That goes without saying. But is there anything else we want? We could potentially full annex them. I think it's going to be a tad too expensive though, but it is an option. It would of course be that case of me biting off more than I can chew that I was talking about before though, and I'm not sure we want to go that far. Catch those Bulgarians, they're just too fast. They keep running behind their forts. We just need to pop them, we just need, there we go, we might be able to grab them here. Nope, they managed to escape again. How awful. I mean, to be fair, we don't even need to fight them, we could just peace out right now. Maybe we should. After all, annexing the whole nation would give us nearly 300 aggressive expansion. To be fair, a lot of that would just be with Bulgaria, Serbia, Wallachia, but I don't think we need to go crazy. We'll just take our cores in these two provinces, I think. We'll also grab a bunch of money, a beautiful donation to the Imperial Treasury, and I think we'll head over and jump Serbia right now as well. Again, not much reason to really delay. We might be a bit more cautious in this war though, and not grab extra land other than our cores. Our cores are already going to be a fair bit of territory. I think we'll grab the rest of this Vardar province though, because we could give it to our vassal here. They're not a pronoia though. Although to be fair, they don't actually have a successor. It's too bad we can't ask them to become a pronoia based on that. They're simply not willing to because we have too many pronoia. Ah, there's a Turkish revolt behind us. It's a very small one though, just 2 locations. So it shouldn't pose any problem. Although they've pulled in our vassal, that's actually kind of nice. We'll use this as a pretext to annex them. There's the revolters done, barely an issue. We'll of course, as I mentioned, annex that vassal that we didn't really want. The Serbians are almost willing to make peace. Let's go sit on their capital. That should be enough to make them want to surrender. Well, it would have been if they hadn't walked along the side and liberated the war goal. But there's not really any Serbians left, only 3,000-ish, so we should just be able to, yep, defeat them. That's enough to push them out of the war. As I mentioned, we'll grab, maybe we should grab a little more. We're not going to gain much antagonism for this. Mainly Bulgaria that's going to take offense. So I think we'll grab a little more. I have to be careful not to go crazy though, remember. I have that gene that makes me go crazy. But I think we'll go with this. A little extra land. We'll take a bunch of money. We'll peace out. Now the Empire is looking quite large and in charge. We are kind of just waiting now for a few things. There's a few events I want to trigger, like this reform of the Pronoia system. We are going to have to grab the religious war CB. I probably should have come this way down the research tree sooner, but I thought I might need the extra buff to loyalty of subjects, and I of course wanted, as always, the beautiful extra proximity spread. Mainly because we can't actually fabricate any CBs against a lot of these Turkish tribes. We can use our Parliamentary CB, of course, which we may end up doing, but otherwise we're going to have to use the good old religious CB to actually attack. Same with the territories in southern Greece still under the control of the Latin. There's Michael, he's of age, we'll make him a despot, marry him to some noble lady, doesn't really matter who. He's not the best stat-wise, but he's better than his brother, so we'll appoint him to the government. We don't really know how long Andronicus is going to live, but surely not that long, right? Now there's a revolt against one of our vassals. Again, should be very easy to clean up. I don't even need to take too many troops. Although they might just full occupy our vassal here. It shouldn't be a big deal though, as long as our vassal decides not to surrender, which they surely won't. There, we managed to save the situation. We have a new parliament online. Oops, I did not mean to press ask for greater levies. What I wanted to do was ask for a law change, because at this point we should start thinking about switching over to laws that push us towards plutocracy, if possible, in order to make our change over to a more democratic style of government. We're first going to switch over from favour the elite. We don't really need the income from the nobles anymore, so instead we're going to favour the wealthy, the burghers. Next we're going to switch out our mining law. Well, of course we're going to go for burgher-controlled mining law, as opposed to the noble-controlled mining law we start with. That'll be it for the moment. We do want to switch out our royal court at some point, mainly because this one really increases the expense of the cost of court, and of course increases push to the autocrats. But there isn't one that actually pushes us towards the burghers, so there's no reason to rush for it. One of the biggest blocks to becoming a republic is actually going to be increasing the power of the burghers. But as time goes on, the burghers will get stronger and stronger, as they tend to, as the ages pass. So it won't end up being that big of a deal, I think. Since we have quite a lot of money right now, we're just going to rush up to get our legitimacy a bit. We're not going to go crazy, I think. Once our money drops below 500, we'll bring the push down. It's going to result in us quite rapidly reaching the higher ends of legitimacy, though. There, I think we'll bring it down now. We're almost at 100 now. 83. There we go, we're almost at the all-important 100 legitimacy. We could start revoking privileges right now from the nobles. Thing is, though, it's almost definitely better to wait for a parliamentary issue, but it's whether we get the option that gives us a decrease to the cost of revoking privileges. We could just start revoking them now. To be fair, it'll put us very low on stability to like -90. Let's fund the books because that decreases estate power, and we'll fund the honorary titles to increase our own power. And then we'll have a look. Only really brought the cost down by 1. So I just don't think it's a good idea right now, revoking these. Instead, let's begin strengthening the clergy. Let's begin strengthening the burghers. We do want to give them as many privileges as we can, really, in order to grow their power anyway. And since we're at 100 legitimacy, not spending legitimacy at this point is kind of wasting it. So let's just begin throwing out those privileges. We'll favour ones that increase plutocracy, of course, because after all, if we are able to increase plutocracy, it will decrease the strength of the nobles, which will make cutting them down even easier in the future. Here's our next parliament. As I said, we didn't get the option to reduce the estate powers. There's a lot more crown parliament issues now, so it's rarer, but I'm sure we'll survive. Instead, let's go for a CB. I think it's time we remove the Sicilians from southern Italy. It's going to be a bit of annoyance because, well, actually, Sicily is allied with Castile, and they've got Aragon backing them. So it's going to be a bit of a harder conflict than really we signed up for. but I still think it's doable. So let's fabricate that CB. We'll do it on Athens. We do need to wait until we get a diplomat, so we'll wait for that. Alrighty, we'll declare war. Aragon looks like they've lost most of their army. Are they at war? They're not. Maybe they were just at war with somebody. Navarra looks like it's grown a little. It has. Navarra's expanded. How curious. I wonder what situation led to that. Well, it definitely looks like it was probably that they attacked Castile with Aragon and took some land. That's why Aragon's so weakened. But Castile's pretty dominant. They'll probably bounce back and destroy them, sadly. But either way, we'll turn our attention to Athens. Maybe we can help out by defeating the Castilians a bit when they send troops over. Ooh, while we were at war, the coalition decided to attack us in the back. They're still not very strong though. There's 2,000 there, 4,000 there, 3,000 there. Is an annoyance though, a distraction. Maybe that's what they were going for. And to be fair, based on our situation, just based off the numbers, it's probably a smart idea to attack us now because we look like we're in a bad situation. We're really not. Just because the numbers are big doesn't mean the AI is going to be able to bring those numbers over, right? With that said, I think it's best we focus our efforts on the Sicilian war. The Sicilians have no army left, except for around these 200 or so regulars that are somewhere. Probably these guys. But with that said, we do need to be here to catch the Castilian army when they eventually, assumedly, land. We don't really want to not catch them and allow them to just wander around our territory. So I think we'll sit out the war. Well, we'll not sit out, but we won't go over just yet to deal with the rebels. It looks like our allies might be able to just handle it themselves, Trebizond and our vassals, although maybe not. Trebizond just lost a fight there. Although the enemy are sieging Trebizond, that's kind of good. It means they're wasting their time there. I think I've actually overestimated the Castilians. They only have 2 transports, so I don't think they're ever actually going to show up. I guess we have nothing to fear from them. The Aragonese are the ones with the navy. I guess that means we can turn around and deal with the coalition then. So we'll do just that. We do have to be a little careful when fighting these Turks. If they're able to attack us with the same amount of men, they may be able to roll over us. But as long as they're not, we shouldn't really have any problem. The problem is, as always, that the enemy tends to run away when we get close. Although they're not running away now. Let's see if we can nab this 1,000. Yep, there we go. I think we've killed most of the Turks now. There's only 5,000 or so roaming around. We just occupy the coalition leader's capital and we should be able to bring it to a close. We've almost got the religious war CB researched. Once we do have that, I think we'll just kind of conquer all of Anatolia at once. Finally, they reformed the Pronoia system. Been waiting for this. We'll do it immediately. It's going to cost us a bit of stability, but it removes the Pronoia system, as you can see, reduces max tax by 10, increases subject income by 1, pushes towards decentralization but allows Pronoia. And we get 3 new ones that we can pick. Let's take a look at them. So we've got Komnenos form of Pronoia, which decreases the cost and maintenance of heavy cavalry, while giving a little tax efficiency and a push towards centralization. Then we have the Palaiologos system, which gives a little bit of satisfaction to nobles, same amount of tax efficiency, but then gives loyalty of subjects. And then we just have the default system, which gives a lesser boost to noble satisfaction, the same amount of tax efficiency of the other, a big increase of 15% of subject income, and a little malice to the pop join rebels threshold. Personally, I always like decreasing the pop join rebels threshold, and the income from the subject income is pretty good as well. And we're currently sitting with our nobles at max satisfaction almost, so there's no real reason for us to grab the Palaiologos version, so we're just going to grab the default reformed version. Now we're going to end our war with the coalition. We could take land from them. The thing is though, it's going to be pretty expensive to take land because of the CB. That being the coalition CB makes it very costly for us to take land. So I would just rather make a white peace. Since we're going to start being able to make the religious CBs, next time we should just be able to start cleaning them up. Now we'll turn back around and go and fight the Sicilians some more. They haven't really made any progress while we were fighting in Anatolia. Ooh, there's a few Castilians have showed up. Only 400 though, so we'll just annihilate them. It looks like Castile has built a few transports, 8 or so, and they have begun transporting their army over. They're landing in Italy first though, which gives us some time to prepare. Not that we really need to do anything. Prepare mentally maybe. There's the first 2,000 coming across. They're a little too fast, we weren't able to catch them. If they just stop running, we'll be able to catch them instantly. And there we go. All 1,900 of them wiped out. Castile's actually had enough with just that. So I guess we'll see them off. The Aragonese have also had enough, and therefore Sicily has also had enough. We could take land in Italy, same as we did with Naples. I think we will. It will lead to a bit of antagonism, but not with anyone we really care about. Athens is about to become our vassal, so they don't matter. Bulgaria, Naples, I mean, Naples could form a coalition against us. There wouldn't really be that many people in it though. Just Sicily, Bulgaria, based off these numbers. Although maybe I'm reading them wrong. Let's see what happens. Athens is now under our control. Glorious as it is. We actually get an event if we start coring Athens. We get an event that basically pushes it to being half-cored. So we'll start coring it. We won't release it as a paranoia. Now our number one priority is really to kill the Turkish tribes and bring about the end of the rise of the Turks. So we're going to be a bit aggressive here. We're going to kind of start expanding and not really stop until the Turks are gone. Of course, there is still this Turkish tribe here who we need to deal with. I'm sure we can find a way though. And there's that Athens event I was talking about. May Athens remain part of the Byzantine Empire forevermore. Right, we've got another parliament. Again, we didn't have access to the one that decreases the cost of revoking reforms. So now, as discussed earlier, I think we're going to switch out our royal court. We're going to go for itinerary court. It does have a pretty big downside, but I'll talk about that when our ruler eventually dies. But the gains from the current version aren't really that big. We're not actually paying a penny for the cost of court, and we probably won't for the foreseeable future due to passive gain. So the little legitimacy buff isn't really worth it. At the same time, the malice isn't really a malice because we don't spend a penny on the cost of court, right? We really just want to get rid of that little push to the aristocrats. Itinerary court will also help with spreading our control around. We've built up quite a large treasury, so I'm thinking we should start investing it. It's always scary to invest your money, and I like to build big banks up. But even so, we'll start building something. We'll start by building those unique buildings in Constantinople. Another thing we're going to do is develop all of Constantinople's silk, and then we're going to throw down the silk monopoly on Constantinople to push the silk output even higher. Then I guess we'll build a few more tailors. We're going to start handing out some privileges to the peasants as well to help decrease the power of the nobles, similar to how we're doing with the burghers. Increasing peasant enfranchisement will decrease the nobles' power across the board, and since our nobles are so happy, it doesn't really matter us giving out some privileges to the peasants, because it won't lead to the nobles becoming too unhappy, which is a concern. And since we are going to become a republic, we'll probably push for free subjects anyway. In the Roman Republic, the people will of course be free. Ah, there goes old Andronicus. He did a pretty good job. Dies at 68. He was greedy, a sinner, and an entrepreneur, but he was exactly what we needed. So this was one of the reasons why choosing itinerary courts is a bad idea. Every time our ruler dies by default based on our succession law, we lose 10 or so legitimacy. And because of this succession law, when our ruler dies, we get to pick a new capital, and if we choose to keep it in Constantinople, we lose 5 legitimacy. It does increase the prosperity of Constantinople by 15%. Every time a ruler dies though. To be fair, the prosperity of Constantinople usually sits at 100% anyway, so it doesn't really matter. For now though, I think we'll leave the video here. New ruler is perfect time. Next time, we're going to begin our expansion quite aggressively. We've only got around 40 years to conquer all of Anatolia, or at least all the Turkish tribes, which honestly there aren't that many left. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and one of them is a vassal, I believe, so they don't count, which means it's 6. And since they're largely kind of all allied together, we might be able to just bite them all up at once. Mamluks are going to be the ones we need to keep an eye on, because we'll need to keep an eye on their antagonism. We've already improved their relationships with us a lot though, so it shouldn't be too difficult keeping them in check. Another thing we're going to do is defeat the knights. We're currently building a spy network, and as we have a core on Rhodes, it will be easy to take it. They're also allied with Genoa, so we'll also use the chance to retake the land that Genoa's taken from us in the region. There's also these very small nations left here in Greece. We need to make sure we have a border with them so that we can fabricate a Cleanse Heresy CB, but we'll do just that. There's only a few of them. There's also Venice here as well, but I think we'll leave Venice for a while. Or maybe not, I don't know. It depends on how I'm feeling and where we're going. As I said, for now, this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh yeah, I can't save because it's Ironman. I guess that means I don't need to remember saving.